You.
Thank you. Thank
We've been just
you.
doing a little connection and a little understanding. We've met your beautiful partners in crime, Caroline and Liliana, and
Uh,
I just am so happy to have you here. And I'm going to turn the room right over to you, and maybe you can share with everybody just where you've come from, just to begin, so that people can have an understanding. Those that don't know you are unfamiliar. Susan and I took a curriculum together. I shared in her Relationship Ready program with Leela Turner. And so I have a lovely understanding of this beautiful woman. But for those who don't, Susan, I would love you to share a little bit about yourself before we dive into the deeper understanding. And thank you for being
sure. Hello?
Hello.
You can hear me? Okay, good. That's a good start. Well, it's really lovely to be here. I don't know whether most of you are based in Canada and on a different time time zone to me, but I'm based in London. So I'm at the end of my day. I managed to achieve walking 10,000 steps today, so I'm very happy that I got that done. Um, it's going to be my new thing. I want to try and do that on a daily basis for a while. So, yeah. So my background, I don't know if any of you read my bio, but my background is in natural health. I was a homeopath for many years, and so people used to come and see me and talk to me about their health, and as well as their physical health, they come with emotional things, and I try and help them the best I could with what I knew. And I became interested in natural health, and really was, like probably many of you, I was kind of always searching for a way to feel better, whether it be physically or emotionally. I mean, physically I was quite strong, but emotionally I didn't feel so strong, and I used to feel quite knocked about by the sort of the sea of life. Kind of felt like I got quite easily knocked, and I didn't feel overly resilient. I sort of felt I walked around kind of feeling um, what I call insecure now, but it sort of felt like that I wasn't good enough. That I felt like yeah, I felt like I had, well, I guess I would say low self-esteem. I didn't feel overly confident, and I used to feel like um uh sort of trying to remember back to how it actually felt back then. But I was, I guess I was constantly sort of worrying that I wasn't good enough. That was sort of what I was running in my head. And anyway, I came across this understanding back in 2013 while on my search to feel better. And I'd done many different self kind of self-help groups, and they would definitely work for a while. For a while I'd start to feel better. I kind of come out of them all enthusiastic and excited, and I'd feel better. But within sort of a bit like a holiday, within about 3 weeks, I'd start to feel the same again, and all the old kind of issues would come back and revisit. I don't know if this is familiar to any of you, but that was my journey. And and then I came across this understanding, and um, when I did first come across it, I started looking into it and reading into it myself, and I I didn't really understand anything that I read, and I listened to a few things online, but I didn't really know what they were going on about, and I didn't understand anything. But I did notice that over the next couple of months that I didn't feel so unsteady. I kind of felt just a little bit more steady. Things, I wasn't feeling as bad as I was usually feeling. Kind of the low level depression wasn't so visible to me. And so I saw that there really was something here, and even if I wasn't seeing it yet, there was something that it was really worth looking into further. So I did. I delved in and I started reading more books and looking into it further. And it culminated with me doing a year's training with One Thought and training to be a facilitator. And after I did that training with One Thought, which I think was 2013 to 14, I I volunteered to help somebody called Jacqueline Hollows, who works in Beyond Recovery in the prison system here. And me and my colleague Lily, who's on this call, Liliana Bellini, we started working in the prisons, and we started taking groups there, and we were working with people with all kinds of diagnoses and all kinds of backgrounds, and we saw that everybody had the capacity to feel better, no matter what had happened in their life before, no matter what they'd been through, whatever their circumstances and whatever their diagnoses. And so this led to me working in that field, and I work also with Caroline in Slice of Happiness, working with people affected by homelessness. And I also became one of the faculty on the One Thought course, and was started to train people to do what I do. And Leela asked me if I would help her do the relationship ready training. And this was the one area of my life that, it wasn't the only area, but it was an area of my life that had always been really, really difficult and really, really complicated. And even after seeing something that helped me, when I started seeing something about the way I was using my mind, when I came across these principles, I still found this area of relationship difficult. It wasn't something that immediately got easier for me. This area was still a problem area, a difficult area. And it took some time for that to change. But then when it eventually did change, it went from being so difficult and so complicated to whatever the opposite of that is. It's uncomplicated, not difficult, and I would say easy to navigate. That was completely and utterly fascinating to me, because it was, I just, everything that I was innocently doing that I thought was necessary in relationship was most unhelpful. So I had a real attitude change, and I came at it in a very, very different way. And that has served me incredibly well. And this story has a happy ending for me. And I mean, I got married a year ago. I've been with my husband for 5 years, and we got married a year ago. And we have a very comfortable and happy relationship life. And I just wanted to come on here today, really, to share what it is that I found helpful, and what it is that I saw that made it go from incredibly difficult and complicated and hard work to easy. And I thought I'll try and kind of show you a little bit about how it looked then, what I saw that was helpful, and how it looks now. And then I thought, after that, if you would like to, you could ask some questions, because I love questions. It's much easier than kind of just talking. So okay, how did it look before? How did it look before? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my relationship history. So I got married aged 26, which I think sounds almost like a child bride now, right? I mean, like when I did it, it sort of felt kind of normal. But now when I think about it, and the age my children are, they're both older than that now, it seems like a very young age. But I got married at 26, and I was married for 13 years, and I got divorced. I think it was 2002. I'm not sure if I got the maths right then, but so then I was divorced until I got married last year. So a very, very long time divorced. And but my relationship problems didn't start with the marriage. I can't say that I had, this incredible relationship life until I got married. It was also already not going so well for me. And before I even got married. And I think, my issues of kind of low self-esteem and not feeling good enough, and not even knowing, not even kind of having a clear enough head to know who to go towards or what was not a good idea, even though probably my wisdom was telling me, I was kind of always constantly overriding it. So I ended up being in an unhappy marriage, and it took me a very, very long time to get out of that, because we had two children together, and I had a lot of fear about leaving the marriage. I had a lot of I was very, very scared that I was going to ruin my children. And obviously, as a mother, that's a very frightening thought, and that was something I was always constantly running, that this could ruin them. And anyway, I eventually did get out of that. It did get out of that marriage in 2002, and after that, I had um, different at different times, different relationships for different lengths of time. So that's kind of an overview of my relationship history. Um, but what I guess what all my relationships had in common were that I was always using my head to try and navigate them. So I one of the things that I was very worried about was getting hurt or hurting somebody, but getting hurt. I was really worried about getting hurt. I felt like I had trust issues. I felt like um, I felt like it was quite easy to get into relationship, but then sort of after a couple of months, maybe when the honeymoon period felt like it was over, I would start to get insecurity. I'd start to feel insecure in the relationship. And I'd be, I'd start off as this girl who was kind of probably quite laid back, quite fun to be around, to getting quite kind of serious and heavy, and um, and so the kind of the tone of the relationship would start to change, and as I could feel that tone changing, it would kind of make me more insecure that they were going to leave me, that it wasn't going to pan out, that it wasn't going to work out, and so I got a bit more kind of clingy. And I'm laughing about it now. It wasn't funny at the time, obviously. But yeah, so I felt like I kind of had to keep, this is how it felt like to me. I had to kind of keep an eye on everything. I was always like, I was trying to be cheerful and upbeat. I wanted to come across like that, but I wasn't really feeling like that inside. And it was a bit like, when you see an actor on stage and they're not really comfortable with the way they're doing, with what they're doing, and you can sense they're not comfortable, and it's almost a bit like uncomfortable watching them. I felt like that in relationship, like I was trying to come across as comfortable and okay, but internally I was worrying about a lot of things about the relationship. And it felt like it always felt quite draining and hard work. And also I felt like I had to kind of, it was my job to hold all these pieces of the relationship together. It was like I had to be in control of it all. I had to be checking I wasn't going to get hurt. I had to be checking I was kind of being a good enough girlfriend. I had to be checking that they were okay enough. It always felt like it was my job to have my hands all over the relationship, and not in a sexy way. um, so yeah, so and deep down, I probably had the dream of many people, which is I just wanted to be loved for who I was, and I just wanted to feel comfortable and find someone I was compatible with, and that it was where there would be ease. And I would probably have thrown into that someone with a sense of humor. I also fancy would be good, but I just wanted to feel that kind of that kind of feeling that I imagined. It always eluded me. Like I, it was the thing that I talked to my friends about more than anything was my issues in relationship, whether I was in one or not in one. It was my massive focus. It was something that I really, really wanted for my life. I wanted to have that great love. I wanted to have that, and I felt like I never really had it. Um, and I would, whether I, like I say, whether I was in a relationship, then I would be talking to my friends about, is this the right one? Should I be here? Can I live with someone who keeps their house like this? Or could I really ever like be with someone who's, whatever it was all sorts of things. Like, I remember this, one of my relationships where he used to, his house was always kind of quite, it sounds mean now, and I'm not naming names, so it's okay. But yeah, his house was kind of quite always a bit dirty and scuzzy. And I was like, could I really end up living with someone who keeps the house like this? And it's not as if I'm not Maria Kondo or anything, but I just didn't think I could handle that level of kind of living with someone forever. And that wasn't the only thing. I was always trying to work it out. Could I live with someone? It was always these two lists of, could I live with someone like this? But on the other hand, I might never meet anybody else. And he's a very decent man. And it was always these weighing up of these two things. And kind of definitely, with one foot in the relationship and one foot out of the relationship. And every now and again we'd have a really lovely time together, and then I think, yeah, I can do this, this is okay. And then other times it wouldn't be good, and I'd think, how can I do this? How could I ever do this for the next however many years? So I was always feeling split, even if I was in a relationship. And when I wasn't in a relationship, I'd be talking to my friends. I don't know if Lily's still on this call, but Lily was certainly one of the friends I was talking to a lot. And I'd feel like it was never going to happen for me. I'd be on my own forever, and I couldn't really imagine that I would find this great love. So this continued, and I kind of, as relationship after relationship happened, what I never gave up was trying really, really hard, and also that this was a real priority in my life. Although I was getting on in other areas of my life, this was something that was very much in the foremost of my mind, and it was something I really, really wanted. And I just kept, I would think about it. I would try and work out how to do it better. I remember going on a walk with walking on the Heath, which is a big park here, with a friend, and saying, I wish someone could just take this off my hands. I wish someone could just tell me how to do it, or just do it for me, or kind of like a bit like the Cyrano de Bergerac, have someone in my ear saying, oh, now you do this and now you do that, just so it could go easier for me. So I really wanted to know how to do this better. But all I kind of seemed to come up with was the way I'd always done it before, which was just trying really hard, basically. So the kind of things I would do in relationship, like if I was starting to feel insecure or not feeling good enough or whatever, then I would start to feel bad. And then I would say to my partner, to my boyfriend, or I'd say, I wouldn't be feeling good. So I'd say, we need to talk. And I remember this one of my boyfriends would sort of say, oh God, oh no, not that, not her needing to talk again. And I'd think, oh God, how can I live with this person? They don't want to listen to me. You know, I want to deal with the problems in relationship and they're not interested. And but I felt so uncomfortable in myself with the way I was feeling that I felt like I needed to talk to the person, and that hopefully that would sort it out, even though many times I would have these conversations and it didn't lead to us being closer. It didn't lead to us sorting things out. It kind of it left me to end up sort of having a miserable evening and being really kind of spend the evening upset. What did I do wrong? It didn't work out. So, you know, that feeling of we need to talk felt to me like real information that I needed to pay attention to and follow. It felt like there was an urgency to it. I needed to do it, that I couldn't settle until it was done. And so we often had those we need to talk, we need, you know, these conversations where it started with we need to talk. And, you know, I'll talk a bit about this later, but that certainly now doesn't make sense to me at all. In fact, we need to talk. No, is the answer to that. We definitely don't. That's the short and the long and the short of it, right? And so yeah, to me now we need to talk would be an absolute red flag. So for me, I kind of did the same things over and over. I just was doing the best I could. I couldn't come up with anything new because I was having the same old thinking and I was following the same old thinking, and I was staying with these, really trying to absolutely do relationship from my head, trying to work out the right way to do it, trying to work out if this person was right for me. And my poor old wisdom was trying to give me messages underneath, but I couldn't hear a word of it because I was so busy trying to work everything out and trying to control everything and keep it all going and trying to keep myself safe. So and you know, the other thing about the we need to talk conversations is I remember that I would go to those we need to talk conversations, so something would be unsettling me, and so I was looking for a particular result from those conversations. They weren't just we need to talk, I need to share how I'm feeling, let's hear how you're feeling. I was looking for an outcome always. You know, I wanted to feel better, basically. I suppose I would like them to reassure me that everything was fine and whatever it was. And so I used to go into these we need to talk conversations with very, not a lot of listening, and certainly not neutral listening. I'd be quite nervous. I'd want them. I'd already be quite worried about the relationship, so I wasn't really interested in just having a chat. It was, I needed something from that conversation. So so that's how kind of relationship went for me in the past, and I kept kind of working at it very hard. And then something shifted for me when I saw this understanding. A lot of my thinking fell away, but when it came to relationship, it didn't fall away. It was one of those areas that was very sticky for me still. But then I finally did have a shift. And when I first went on a date with my now husband Jeremy, I I just came to it very differently. And the feeling that I came to it with was completely different from the feeling that I was just talking to you about when I was navigating relationships from my head, really. And I just dropped into something different, which was a trusting that I would know what to do. And that was so different from the way I used to feel, which, you know, when you remember I said I had that conversation with a friend where I said, can anyone please tell me how to do this? So I went from that to this feeling like I'll know what to do. But I don't even know how that happened when I was so the other way. I was so I so thought the answer was outside of me, that somebody could tell me the right way to do things. And I just dropped back into, I just came at it from a much, much quieter place. And we went out on a date, and we had a really nice time. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. He was and is a really nice guy. And we said, and we came out, and this is a cute thing, but I've got to put my cardigan on, I'm freezing. I can't find it. Anyway, and we came out of the pub, and we looked up, and the sky just completely lit up with fork lightning. And that was cute, because it was like, oh my God, that's like never happened to me before. This is like electrical. My God, it was like really exciting. And but anyway, I kept my cool. Off we went, and we said, no, it was really lovely. Let's do it again tomorrow. So the next day we went out, had a really nice time, and we were kind of, let's do it again tomorrow, and it went like that. And in the beginning, I was sort of, it wasn't like I was sure, I didn't know Jeremy was the one. It was just, I was just enjoying getting to know him. I was just enjoying being together. I really liked it. And I was kind of almost trying to keep away from any questions about anything further than tomorrow. Like, do I want to do this again? Yeah. Not, do I want to move in with this man? Do I want to live with this man? Will I, none of that. It didn't make sense to me. It was like amazing. I kind of, when I think about it, I just pat myself on the back, because that was such a different thing for me than going out on dates or being in a relationship and always being in the future. I was just getting to know him and liking what I saw. And I could feel he liked what he saw, because we had a really nice time together. And so I started to very much navigate it like that. It just didn't make sense to get intense. It didn't make sense to try and control everything. It didn't make sense to jump into the future. And I remember thinking one day, I was thinking like, really like Jeremy, but there was a little thing about this or a little thing. And I thought, no, hands off it. Just leave that and let's wait and see. And the pace of it as well. It's like I just knew the pace I wanted to move at. Like I could see Jeremy was ready to give me a kiss, and I didn't quite feel ready to have a kiss yet. And I just felt that was okay. And it was like so trusting of myself. Normally in the past, I'd have thought, oh, well, if they want to kiss me, then what's it mean if I don't? And it was like just everything. I kind of like took a cool pill. I was cool. It was like it just was not intense about it all. And I remember when we got to about 3 months, the time where it always got into danger zone in the past relationships, I thought we'd already kissed by then, kissed at a month. And but at a month, I was like, he went off to America for a couple of weeks, and I thought, damn it, I wish I kissed him. I really want to kiss him. So as soon as he came back, jumped on him. So, but what was I saying about that? Yeah. So, but I remember meeting up with my cousin, and I thought, and I got to about 3 months, I thought, I actually thought, oh my God, I really like this guy. Like this guy, I really like it. I really like this one. And I just thought, it's lovely. But I just knew to kind of just stay cool and not run away with myself and just keep enjoying. But I remember my cousin, we met for dinner, And she said, "Oh, how's it going and what's happening?" And I said, "Oh, I really like him." And she said, "Does he really like you?" And I said, "I think so." Um, and she said, "Well, do you think he likes you as much as you like him?" And I said, "No." And I said, I think I'm like, I really know." I said, "I just feel like I know. I think this is it. I think I really like him. It's, I think I'm in. I'm in, I thought. Like, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm in." And I said, and she said, "Well, do you think he's in?" And I said, "I don't know. I think he's still thinking." And I just wanted to tap myself on the back again there, because how cool that I didn't even let that rattle me, right? It was like, that was not a problem. We're all on different timescales. Jeremy was 2 years divorced. I was 13 years divorced. I'd kissed a few blimming not frogs, friends with frogs. I knew when I saw something that I really, this was it. I liked him, right? And with him, I think he was taking it easy. I mean, I remember when I met him, and that he was still quite, I'd call it traumatized from everything that had happened in his marriage and all that. And I also knew that wasn't a problem. It was like, I knew that it would, that time in it was normal. It was okay. And it didn't mean anything about us. And it just meant he needed a bit more time. And I never made it mean anything about us in the relationship. And that reminds me of something that I used to do when I was in relationship prior to this understanding, is everything that I felt or everything that was going on, I thought it belonged in the relationship. And there's very, very little that happens in my head that belongs in my relationship now. It's like, it's between me and my head. It really doesn't belong there. And I used to drag everything, the kitchen sink, into my relationship, and it had no place there. So that's something I can talk a bit more about, but that really doesn't make sense to me anymore. So anyway, so we took it kind of, we got to know each other, and we carried on seeing each other, and we carried on enjoying each other, and we carried on. And after about a year, I thought, I can't bear it any longer. I've got to tell him I love him. I just love this man so much. And I've got to say, I know he's not ready to say it, but I can't hold it in anymore. Anyway, so I did. And you know what? He wasn't ready to say it. And I still didn't panic. And yeah. And so it did, and that, I thought, that's cool, it's fine. It's like, thank you for the cat. And anyway, so it was like, I just became this cool dude who didn't panic about this stuff, and just stayed in the moment, enjoyed each other, enjoyed our experience, felt a lot of gratitude for what I was feeling. This man was kind and tender, and I remember that, could be an oversharing, but just I remember being kissed one day, and I thought, I never in my life thought I'd be kissed like that, let alone that is how I'm daily kissed. It's like, just, I was so grateful, and still am. I still live in gratitude every day. And so yeah, so it was a very, very different sort of feeling way of coming to a relationship. It had a very, very different feeling than how I'd ever navigated relationship before. Um, and obviously, being a human, I have lots of different human experiences, but it's almost like, when I come to these sort of bumps that I always used to kind of, you can call them potholes. I always fell down the potholes before, when bumpy things happened, when I wasn't feeling good, in myself, I'd always fall down the pothole, and it would always get dragged into the relationship. Now I kind of tend to kind of just sort of step over most of them, but they always feel like a bit of like a fork in the road. Like I can see exactly where it will go if I go down that way. And I don't want to. And I kind of choose to go that way. It's like when I feel myself getting intense, when I feel that thing like we've got to talk, when I'm feeling tight, and it's like just I take myself some space. I certainly won't say to Jeremy we need to talk, because it hasn't got anything to do with him. It's just something that me and my head are going through, and I know the way it pans out because I've been down that fork over and over again. So um, it's like in this kind of quieter place, there's this knowing that kind of helps me just navigate my relationship day to day over and over again. Um, and I don't ever feel like I have to have all the answers or have to know how to do this. I just have this trust that I'll know what to do as things come up. And how can I not be grateful for that? It's like uh, it's so the opposite of how it used to feel, and it's the gift that kind of keeps on giving. And I can't, I wouldn't do it any other way. Um, and it's like it's just like you just sort of feel your way. You're just feeling your way, and then you, like I say, sometimes I feel contracted and tight and intense, and that's fine. It'll pass. But there's nothing to do, it's got nothing to do with my relationship. And obviously if I'm feeling in a low state of mind, then everything looks a bit bleak from there. So it could be that I think there's something wrong with Jeremy, or there's something, but luckily I know enough to know that that's not me seeing the world as it really is. That's me seeing the world from the state of mind I'm in. And I wouldn't even think of taking anything seriously until I saw it from a different place. And how often when we've calmed down, or we're not in a different state of mind, we can't even remember what the problem was, let alone feel like it's got to be dealt with. So yeah, there. And the other thing I would say is that I always used to think that I needed something outside of me to make me feel a certain way. So I always thought that I could only feel loved if somebody was expressing love to me, or I don't know, feel attractive if someone was telling me that I would look nice, or any of those things. I always thought they came from the outside and would make me feel better. And now I see that it doesn't come from that place. It comes from within me, and I can feel whatever I want to feel about me. I can, it doesn't matter if 20 people are telling me how lovable I am. If I don't want feeling on the inside, I'm not going to be feeling it. But yeah, I can feel it at any moment whenever I want, because it's, our natural state is love, and feeling love for people and feeling love for ourselves is what shows up when we're not running all this stuff about what's wrong with us. Yeah, I feel like I have more things to tell you, but I can't think of them right now. I've got to grab a cardigan though, because I'm freezing. So just give me 1 second. It's just there.
Go, go. Uncomfort is not the place we want you to be. So do you want to open up the conversation and then maybe go in and out of questions and more and unfolding? How do you feel about that, Susan? Do you want to open up some questions and then just kind of unfold more?
Sure. Was that? Yes, lovely. Sounds lovely. If anybody's got any questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Sandra, thumbs up. So, even insights or some understanding that you're hearing from your own perspective. or questions.
Mm.
Yeah.
If any of it resonated.
Mhm.
Thank you, Sharon.
Mhm. I don't have a moderator today, so I know that it's a bit much for people to come on, but if you want to share in the chat, go ahead and I'll try to keep up with what's there.
I just wanted to make a comment. I really liked what you said in terms of when something comes up in a relationship, you've got to look at it from, is this my issue, or is it something that has anything to do with the actual relationship? Because I had a situation and I connected with a friend and she just completely turned my thought process around for me, because sometimes when you're stuck in the moment, you can't see it. And she just said one thing and it's like, oh, thank you. I needed to have, because I was not that I was spiraling, because I really don't do that anymore, but I was digging myself into this rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, like all this kind of garbage coming up. And she just said one thing, and it was like, thank you. That's,
Mm.
I just needed that different perspective, and having that different perspective is so helpful when you're going down that rabbit hole, because it's just like a friend reaching in going, okay, you're drowning, here's a life raft, here you go, come on out. But I really like that, because so much of what happens in relationships is all in our head, and it's got nothing to do with the other person. And there was a perfect example of that. There was, the guy and the girl in the car after going back, and she asked him a question, and he's lost in the thought of he's thinking about, when did I last do the oil change, because the little thingy wasn't there. And she's saying, oh, he's so quiet and he looks so serious, he doesn't like what I said, blah 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 blah. And he's just thinking about, oh, because he's worried about his car and whether it it's just such a silly.
Brilliant.
Mhm.
I think that's such a great example. And I love the way you said when your friend helped you and you said thank you, because that's it. It's like that, isn't it? When you just suddenly see the other side of, you can't see the other perspective when we're stuck in one way of looking at it. And then she released something for you and then you see the other perspective. But I love what you were saying about that point about two people in a car and he's looking all intense and, distracted. And she's imagining all the things she's done wrong or whatever. I mean, that was my life back in the day. Absolutely. I was always in other people's heads. And I think that's a really, really good point, is I just try and stay in my own now. And if I'm curious about another person's head, it really makes sense for me to ask a question rather than make up what's going on in their head now.
Oh, I'm a master at that.
Oh God, yeah.
Of
I know.
creating situations that are not there. So I've got a long way to go, but you give me hope. So thanks.
Oh, lovely. That's so lovely. And I love being wrong about that now. I love being wrong about when I'm guessing about what's in someone's head, or I think I know, and then I find out it's nothing like I was thinking about. I actually am relieved. I actually really like being wrong now, because it's much nicer to just not be in your head making things up. And if you want to know, just ask. Thank you for sharing.
Who else?
Oh, Natasha's got a hand up.
My friend. Lovely.
Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for that. And I was left with such a glorious feeling. And just, I guess, I don't even know if it's a question, but you just reminded me of how when you come beneath that noise and the analytical and the questions and being so in your head, and what I heard in your story was how you started connecting and listening to your wisdom more, and you use the word enjoyed. compared to intense. And I really heard that in what you said. And sometimes I think it's so easy to forget the enjoyment and it becomes intense. So that was a really lovely reminder of just, I heard when you said and you met your husband now and you were just moment to moment, you were enjoying rather than questioning and analysing. So I loved that. And that's not for me just about relationships, that's about anything. It's just, it was a lovely, lovely reminder. Thank you. And there was something else. I had so many, it's like popping candy when you were talking. So many things going off in my head. It was glorious. And well done on your 10,000 steps, by the way. And it was just, I know, the compassion. I love the pat on the back. And again, it's that reminder of the self-care and just that compassion. So I took so much from that. So I don't know if there's a question, but how lovely that you just reminded me of all those really special things. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That's so lovely. And it's you reminded me that the you know, that the thing about, it's getting beneath the noise and all the kind of the wisdom is beneath that noise. And I'm just so grateful that it's, for whatever reason, that change started to occur, and I just got much more interested in that deeper knowing than the noise. And I am relieved and grateful for that. And it reminds me of this other area of my life that is most imperfect, and the very different way that I come at it. And unsurprisingly, I'm not having breakthroughs at the moment in this area. But so in the area of dieting and losing weight, like since I hit the menopause, I've kind of put on a lot of weight, and I've just been going at it like I was going at relationship. I'm looking for the perfect diet. I'm trying this one. I'm trying that one. I could write a million blogs about this, every different one that I've tried. I mean, I've learned a lot of different things, but I'm so confused. I don't know what to follow because I'm so interested in the noise still. And I can feel that the way I'm coming at it is very, very different to the way that I'm coming at relationship. And unsurprisingly, just like with relationship, I'm not getting the results because I'm still looking for someone else to tell me how to do it, for something outside of me to get this done, for I'm interested in my noisy thoughts. I've got to have chocolate. I've got to chocolate. It's like I'm just coming at it with a very different feeling. And I know that when I quieten down about this and when I drop into something else and I come at it from a different angle, I'll have a different result. But that's not yet for me right now. But I'm just showing you that there are these areas that still feel very bumpy for me. And it's not graceful like it is in relationship, but yeah, it'll come when it comes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
I want to say that that's a great awareness for myself, because all of us currently in the room, we're all sitting as women right now. So what I find is that that the mapping of one area is absolutely a flow into another area. So what Susan is sharing, in my understanding, is that whatever we're doing well over here, there often are areas of all our lives that are not working as well as we'd like them to be. And putting that stiller mind, that calmer mind to it, is that beautiful place where when I come at it in that place, things just fall away. So whether it be relationships for you or your business or sustainability monetarily, or whether it be, this is where it's not just for this one thing. So, yeah, that stiller mind coming to all things, that place in me. And I'm still learning that. I'm still learning that as well, just like you are. And I'm seeing the results that I'm getting when I'm calmer, more at peace. So thank you for mapping that over, because I'm sure a lot of people in the room have other arenas other than relationship that this could be useful. I'm seeing some nods. Does anybody else want to share?
I will.
Yeah, please, Barbara.
I would just like to thank Susan very much for opening up to us today. I really appreciate it. And I realized that my life basically was pretty much the same as yours, Susan, with the insecurity and having the trust issues. So knowing how you are right now, I have faith that I am going to be that way also at the end. And that how do you actually really start to trust that you are on the right road and that you are making the decisions for you? Because I think I've lost the trust in me. And so if you can just, how did you get there where you really did trust yourself?
Yeah, okay, thank you for that question. So you see, it's interesting because when I say I used to have trust issues, I always thought of it as something outside of me, like, oh, I don't know if I could trust this person or trust that person or trust them not to harm me or hurt me. And that's how trust issues felt. And so I certainly didn't trust myself, because I didn't feel like I'd done a particularly good job or kept myself safe in the way I wanted to be kept safe. I felt like, I'd got hurt a lot in relationships. I didn't feel secure. So, and I think because I didn't know anything about this deeper wisdom within me, I mean, obviously I'd had experience of it now and again, but I didn't know it was a consistent. I just thought, yeah, I had been given messages like, well, you shouldn't be with that person, or your car keys are in your jacket pocket. I had been given messages, but I just didn't really pay attention. And I think after coming across this understanding, it came this way around for me. I became less interested in all the noise of trying to find answers from working things out. Like, I tried the working out method. I tried it over and over again. I'd literally tried it to death. So I'd done looking for the answer up here. I'd done analyzing. I'd done talking to friends about it. I'd done digging around the problem over and over to try and get to the bottom of something. And it wasn't getting me towards the kind of peace of mind that I wanted. And so I started to just pay more attention to something else other than the noise. So when the noise wanted to start up and, come on, let's go work this out, I'd be like, no. And because I became less interested in that noise, I got a bit quieter. And that inner wisdom's always there trying to guide us. It's like, it's always trying to give us information, whether it be the tiniest little thing, like, you want a sip of water, or you need to get outside for a minute, or whatever, to something much more profound. So I just became a lot more interested in that quieter voice, and a lot more respectful of it, 100% respectful of it. Whereas before I didn't even know A, existed, and B, that it was something that would could guide me constantly. So it was a twofold thing of becoming less interested in analyzing my way out of things because it didn't work. And because I didn't get so involved in that, I was able to hear that quiet wisdom and 100% followed it. And it's almost like the more you follow it, where else would you look? It's like it's perfectly designed for you and your life, the wisdom you get. And each and every single one of us have it, and we're all tapped into the same thing, just like all of nature's tapped into the same thing. And it's like it is perfectly designed as your personal information desk to give you the information that you need for your life.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for the question.
To ask something, Susan, for the people, I don't know about the rest of you in the room, but I kept my life on the fastest of paces. I kept busy, I kept going, I kept myself on. And that onness was the way I could keep out of the feelings of loneliness or, the ways of being. I actually think I was running from the stillness. I was running from what would be my wisdom, because if I trusted it, as Barbara was saying, I didn't find the result that was happening in the way I wanted it to happen. And so for those that keep that on button, I'd love you to speak to that. That place where every moment of their day is filled and then they fall flat on their face, because I also know that women, mothers, these beautiful mothers here in the room as well. It's like it's innate for us to multitask, to take the list outside. We don't leave the house without the list. We're running on that understanding. And I did that for years and years, until I found the principles and found a calmer sense of being. But I'd love you to speak to that, because I do hear a lot of that in the realm of the people I surround myself with, and the go girl,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that most of us are running faster than we mean to, or or in a higher gear than we mean to, kind of doing life. And I think we don't necessarily, well, I'm speaking for myself, I don't necessarily even know I'm doing it until I drop down a gear, and then I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
I could do it from here. Because it's almost natural. Like I'll go up into maybe third gear and do the day in third gear, and it's only if I accidentally come out of that and drop down into second gear or first gear that I see there's other gears, because I don't even realize I'm over sped up or and but all I can say is, the thing is that it's our feeling that gives us the clue. It's all I can say is that because when we're sped up, it comes with a certain type of feeling and experience that has a bit of intensity to it. It might not be in, it's not fifth gear, but there is a certain sort of intensity. I'm in a rush, I've got so much to do. It's just that got that kind of sped up feel. And when that's happening, can't always shift it, but sometimes just seeing it is enough, and then it moves, or it shifts, or you come down a gear. Like sometimes, like for example, I can be so in my head, and then maybe Jeremy will come up and just give me a hug or a kiss or something, and I'm like, whoa. Like if I want to feel that hug or feel that kiss, I can't be up in my head and having that experience, because I'm not going to be having the experience, right? I have to come out of my head to really enjoy and feel him and feel his presence, right? And then I realize how sped up I'm going around my day. It's like, okay, and we haven't all got a Jeremy to kiss us necessarily, but there's so many things that can bring us back into the moment. You may go outside. My friend Lily likes walking on the soil and soiling her feet, as she calls it. You know, it's like there are things that sometimes that will bring us back into this moment and just wake us up from the fact that we are going at however many miles per hour more than is conducive to having as much enjoyment, or, you know, that beautiful experience of life.
Mm-hmm. I had this analogy around bunny rabbits. So
Right.
when you live in the UK, there's lots of valleys and green pastures, and so, you know, I had this trainer experience this, that when we're in our natural state, we're just the bunny in the field with our other bunnies, making love, multiplying bunnies, eating naturally, very calm. But when the fox comes into the field, there's an utter panic of all the bunnies. And all the bunnies go running around, and they're, you know, looking for the place to hide and what's safest for them. And that state of being isn't natural. It's not where we're meant to live, in that panic run around mode. We're meant to live in the happy bunny state, grazing in the field, making love to the other bunnies.
I love that. And but it's a really good example, because it just does feel like that, doesn't it? That we can go around kind of more adrenalized than we mean to, and that's certainly something that I definitely do. And like I say, I only notice it when I fall out of it, that I kind of was adding this extra layer of unnecessary kind of angst of the day.
Hannah has her hand up. Please, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Hello. Can you hear me? Is that all okay? So I get quite nervous to talk on these kind of things, but I felt like I was quite drawn to what you've been saying. And so I was abused growing up. So for me, I find connection with just people in general, just making friends, really hard. And I'm always second guessing what I say, and the anxiety is always there, and I'm always in fight or flight mode. I think because of how my mum treated me growing up, I always had to think that one step ahead. So even now, I know that I do it. So with like friends, I'm always thinking, oh, have I said the wrong thing? Or maybe they think I'm being too negative. And then I get in this big ball of like emotion, and I just get scared, and then I feel like nobody ever attaches to me, because I don't really know how to go about it, and I'm still learning about that at the moment. And I'm starting to realize I should believe in myself a bit more. And these kind of groups are really helping me realize I'm not weird, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, well, firstly, thank you for coming on and talking. And yeah, everything you said makes complete sense. And it's really difficult when we're second guessing what everybody's thinking of us, and we don't really know, and it just creates quite an uncomfortable feeling in ourselves, and a lot of kind of worry, and luckily we generally get that quite wrong. And they probably think of us much more warmly than we imagine. But it's lovely you're coming to these groups, and that's just really, really wonderful. And one thing I would just say about keeping you safe is that the wisdom that I was talking about, that inner wisdom when we get quieter, I think that is really here and designed to keep us safe. It's like it knows what is or isn't right for us, what to go towards, what not to go towards. It's like we don't have to work it all out ourselves. That's what will, I think, help to keep us safe in situations. And the more we kind of listen to that, the more I think we instinctively know who and what to go towards and who and what to keep away from.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I hope that's hopeful for you.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I moved from the UK to Canada, so I'm in Canada now, just to get away from everything. But I feel like that was wisdom telling me to come here just to start a happy life. So yeah.
Ah, lovely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's lovely talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Hannah. Meg.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, Susan. Thank you for this time and all you've shared and your experience and your wisdom. And I'd love to share that you have made me really chuckle about, patterns in myself. And you brought to mind when you spoke about this idea that, okay, we have to have the conversation now, right? And I can so relate to that, and so relate to having the whole conversation in my head before I even announce that it's time to have the conversation. And some of the people on the call here know that a number of years ago, I walked the Camino de Santiago. And I remember preparing for that, and all of a sudden my husband announced that he wanted to come, which really threw me because this was going to be my party and he wasn't invited. So I had to surrender to that one. But I remember being overjoyed at the idea that this was going to be one long conversation for us. This was going to be like 35 days of walking. And man, we were going to flush it all out. And boy, was I wrong. Because what I noticed, Susan, was that it all fell away. And there could be the thinking that, well, of course it fell away, Meg, because you removed yourself from the day-to-day, routine and stress of life. But it wasn't that. It was that in that day-to-day of just doing what is actually primal in us, of walking, there became a greater connection to myself and to my body and to my feelings, that's the place that I came from every day. And all this stuff up in my head had no relevance. It didn't matter. And so it did just totally fade away. And Barbara, when you were speaking about trust, I had that aha moment that I hadn't considered before, that, as you have said, Susan, it's that journey of learning to trust ourselves and to trust our wisdom. And I realized that on the Camino, there was a sense of trust that I needed to pull upon, because the environment was different than the trust I needed to pull upon in my day-to-day life here, where I have comfort. I needed to be able to trust myself that I could walk another 22K today while my feet had blisters and were bleeding and I was throwing up on the roadside. I needed to trust that inner resiliency and strength that I could do this, and I would be guided and I would be cared for. Not by comforts of my life here, but what truly lives within here. And so from that experience, all those we need to sit and talk has just totally faded away.
Wow. Wow, amazing. I mean, you're not selling that walk, by the way. That sounds really tough. but you know, that thing of all those things littering our head, we need to talk, and then, you know, when you got quieter, you couldn't even remember them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
it's lovely, because then there's just room for the other things to fill up the space, which are those natural things like connection and enjoyment and getting to know each other, even if you have been married for years. Like, really just starting from scratch, like asking questions about each other and not assuming you already know them. And you know, that's such a lovely, fresh thing that can happen to anybody's marriage at any time, or any relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Who else would like to share? Such a rich conversation.
Oh, some lovely messages here. Thank you, everybody. You look well wrapped up there, Morag, in your green scarf. Bit jealous, I'm freezing. I don't know why I'm so cold. Maybe it's because I'm talking. I was quite nervous about it, and then maybe that's what made me feel cold.
Well, I'm also a Brit transplanted to Canada, and since the beginning of this year, I've been swimming we live on a river, and I swim in the river every morning. So this is my way of getting warm again. But no, thank you so much for the conversation, and I just loved just not being so interested in the noise, because it's very boring. It's the known. We've heard it so many times. It's like, why would we watch, the 400th rerun of some sitcom we didn't even like in the first place? It's, why would we do that? It just makes it so much easier. And actually now, my husband and I, we joke like, we need to talk, and then just laugh and go like, what should we eat tonight? It's just a completely different. Yeah, it's completely difficult to put into words. So I really thank you for doing that.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I have to say, that would be about the only time I would get serious and say we need to talk, when I'm discussing a dinner option.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that is serious.
Stuff. Yes, it is. Yes. No, it was lovely. Thank you very much. And I think that's a difference. Like you, I had many, many different relationships. And then when I met Keith, it was just easy. I mean, it just wasn't any mental noise, even though he lived in Canada and I lived in Britain. It was like, so wonderful. I moved to Canada. That's easy.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's completely different. There's no energy second guessing.
Yeah.
Which means there's so much energy left over, to explore whatever.
Yeah. I think that's such a great point. I mean, you can kind of forget how it was before, but now you've raised that, just remembering how tiring it was being in a relationship. It was so tiring, and exhausting, and you know, needing time out because you couldn't be with them all the time because it was so blooming hard work. And, you know, that, and like you say, when you've got that kind of ease and a good base, you've got energy to do other things, and it's a relief.
Yeah. Yeah. And very cool also what you said. Sorry, go ahead, Liliana. No, I was just going to say very cool the as Kelly said, you know, overlaying it with other things and going, oh yeah, okay, so what other, because when it's easy, it's, yeah, then you don't need to spend any more time on it, and off you go, and bringing that energy to other things. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
yeah.
And lovely, you go swimming every day. That sounds amazing. I know cold swimming's very fashionable now.
It wakes you up. Yeah, you know you're alive, that's for sure. But thank you, I really appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. So lovely women. There's been some profundities for me in Susan's conversation, and yeah, the trust. I heard yesterday, I was watching a video and it said, what part of me thinks I don't have the answer? And I just loved that. Because that's that place where trust is absolutely at the forefront. Susan, it's been just beautiful. And I'd like to give anyone an opportunity to speak or share their insights or offer what they've got. I know recently that when fallout happens, when the mind absolutely falls out and we're just in that human space of conundrum or confusion, or the place to return, you know, that place where we can see that we're out, and that's a moving experience. And I've been speaking to people because in my line of work, that's what I do. Usually when they're in the fallout, I'm speaking to them. And so it's lovely to talk about when we're in the experience of stillness, and that place where we can see that that's just a thought in the moment, and that we don't have to talk to ourselves, to the mirror, to our partner, to our friends. And I do a lot less sharing now in that space. My girlfriend and I were walking the other day, and I said, I've just stopped doing a verbal dump on people of my emotion or my pain or panic in the moment, because I see it, that it's just an ever moving experience.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. And in fact, it's almost it's a red flag for me if I'm going out and trying to do a survey on people outside of myself to find the answer. So it's a red flag for me. So yeah, and I definitely used to do those, you know, when I used to meet up with friends, it was a way of, it was a way of connection, was just to share all my problems and woes. And it's much more fun to share enjoyment.
Fun and who you
Frank.
are. And really good stuff. Really good
stuff. My friend Lily down there, she's come back now, and Louise, we've been setting up this social enterprise called The Big Simple, and we want to share this work with kids who are coming out of the care system. And we have these meetings once a week where we work on whatever we're supposed to be working on, but we have so much laughter, and it's such a joy. And you know, it is a joy and a privilege to just be able to yeah, to fall into that.
Yeah.
You made me, this was so beautiful, Susan. I mean, I've known Susan for 20 years, and we've done so many things together. We've had thousands of conversations about everything. We've got jokes, we've got so much. But you know, I was listening to you, and I was blown away by how fresh it all sounded, what you shared. And there's two things about that I want to say. One, that is obviously every time we share, it's new. It's like even if we're saying the same things, is a new moment, is a new in many different place or in a different place. And but there's also the fact that it's sorry it is the beauty of this, of what we teach, is that, you know, you listen. If you really listen, you're bound to hear something different. And I was really listening, and I was so grateful to have come on this. I didn't think I was, but I thought, no, let me go and listen with, you know, afresh. And you shared beautifully, and I heard things that I've never heard, and I'm sure you said them before, you know, and you shared them. And so I was just so grateful to you, but also grateful for the understanding that allows me and invites me to listen to people and life with fresh ears. There's an invitation that I don't always follow. I don't always, you know, go for, but it's there for all of us to listen to life with new ears and fresh ears. And so that's what happened tonight. So I'm so grateful for that. And you have a lovely way of sharing, and I'm delighted to be, you know, your friend, and to be working with you, and to be your colleague, and to play with you.
Well, thank you, Lily. And but it's like, first of all, I hope it's lovely that you enjoyed listening to me, because I have so many times emotionally dumped over the years onto Lily, so it's nice she can listen to me not doing that. But also, like what Lily's saying, it's like this is it's just such a beautiful gift from what we're all exploring together, of being able to, you know, to listen afresh, whether it is to our romantic partner, or to our mother, or to our child, or to our friend. It's like we always have that invitation all the time to hear, to come at it new, to hear it fresh. And that's just, it's so amazing to be told, to be shown that something about that. Because another thing I remember from the past of how life felt stale, like I knew people. I thought I knew people, like I knew who they were and what they were about and what kind of traits they had and how they were going to be in the conversation before I had the conversation. And I love that. Like I said before, I love the not knowing now.
Mm-hmm. I love that too. You know, we often talk about, you know, habits and patterns of the partner. Oh, well, he's just going to say that. And oh, that, you know, he won't be home for this. Or where we just, in this understanding, we open up that space to say, we don't know tomorrow what's going to be. You know, we just don't know. Tomorrow they could wake up with an insight they've never had before and change everything. And as we change, we invoke those insights by the ripple of who we are, who in us comes to the relationship.
Beautifully said.
Moment to moment. I was telling somebody recently that there is no advanced program of the principles.
No.
Just the deeper self listening over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that my understanding was to just stay in the conversation, just stay the way. So blessed, really. I am so blessed. I'm uncertain where all of these blessings have landed on my lap, and Susan, you're one of the bigger ones in the last little while, having done some work with you intimately and having this amazing. We were laughing and having a giggling conversation in prep of this call, and I just want to say to everybody, for me, it's all in the connections. This labor of love is worth every minute of my morning, every single minute. And having you all here is even better. So,
yeah, you've got the love of wonderful community you've gathered and gathering around you. It's beautiful. And I thank you for inviting me so much. I've loved meeting you all. And thank you all for those lovely messages you wrote for people who haven't spoken. And yeah, really, thank you. Thank you for listening.
If everybody would like to unmute themselves and just say whatever you want to say.
And greatly appreciate your wisdom and just a different look at things.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. My soul feels happy and full right now.
That's lovely, Amy. Thank you.
Thanks for coming again, Amy.
For doing this.
Keep coming back.
Thank you, Susan. This has been wonderful.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Susan. See you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Much love.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Loved meeting everybody.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing this.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Bye.
Kelly.
Bye.
Susan.
Bye. Bye, Morag. Enjoy your swimming. That's inspiring, isn't it?
Yes, we're actually going to do something like that. My group,
Wow.
February 13th, we're doing a polar dip. We didn't say anything to anybody because gatherings, of course, are not privied right now. But we're doing it separate cars, separate pieces of water, and it's going to be amazing.
Oh, well, great. Well, somebody film that, right? Because that sounds good.
We will.
Ah.
Felicity, it's been lovely having you as well again. Thank you so much for your share.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, lovely seeing you all. Lovely speaking to you, Meg and Barbara, Rosalia. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome, Susan. Thank you so much again. We'll chat.
Yeah. And bye-bye, Rajon. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but bye-bye.
I don't know if she's there. Rajon, are you there? She might be, maybe not.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful morning.
Thank you. Evening now.
Yes. Girls, how was that?
Excellent.
Awesome.
Barbara, more and more.
You know what? I had never even realized that we need to talk. I already know what the outcome needs to be for me and the conversation, but I had never realized it till like today. So crazy.
What are you realizing? Do tell, or can you share? I'm just gonna
just that when I say we need to talk, because of course Ken never needs to talk. So when I'm going up and saying that, I'm thinking, holy crap, how he must feel when I say that, because I'm not only saying we need to talk. There's times that I provide information that he needs to to take in and take action, whether he's in that time frame or not, because of where I am. So for me, that was huge.
I thought you might share.
Well, you know what? I would only share because it's you and Barbara right now. And there might be a few other people in that room that I would have, but yeah. Now, having said that,
that sharing that you just had,
yeah.
what thinking do you have around just that period?
Do you know what I have around that? That it doesn't matter what he chooses to do. The thing is that around that thinking of we need to talk is because I know what I need. And if he can't do that because of whatever, that's not on him or me. It's just how it is. That's the realization that I've had. And it's not going to change where I want to be here without having what I need. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I'm thinking that there's nothing in that, and Barbara, chirp in as you will. There's nothing in that share that wouldn't absolutely support someone else in that conversation, nor is it disclosing, that intimate self. So my thought was, in these places where we can unload that insight, somebody else might be impacted by your wisdom. And I know we're not here for anybody else. I know we're not. Yet, what I know for myself is that you're here because of me. And then what I mean by that is that the room is happening because of me physically, like you're here because of that. And that if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here. So
Right.
you have something that could support someone else. So I'm the conduit of the room. And the wisdom is what flows the room in itself. And sometimes I'm feeling like, anybody? So we're together in this plight of learning. And as safe as you can make it for yourself, I would love the support. Love it. Because often, my wisdom says, okay, well, Kelly, nobody's talking. Do we just sit in silence? Yep, sit in silence, and I love the silence, I do. And then there's something that pops in. And so you had something pop in that would have kept you very private, yet very insightful.
Well, I wrote a couple of comments, but it's not the same as speaking. And yeah.
I love your wisdom, however it shows up. Privately like this or in the greater room. And I just know that that if I didn't share who I was, we wouldn't be together.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't
Absolutely.
have any of the message.
No, and I'd still be in my muddle mess.
Yeah.
And I find that because of this, I'm coming out. I still sink into that contaminated thinking. But I'm finding that I'm coming out of it faster. And that's the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to get to that point where I absolutely trust myself for moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And funny that the conversation of trust overlap that to you, Rosalie. It's trust. Trusting that you can speak to the greater room, if you will. Trusting that the message will be whatever it needs to be, and trusting that God's, like I always, before I arrive to this room, I always say, God, please let me be the conduit of your word. That's what I always say, because I don't have the most profound questions, because I've been in the principles 6 years, and sometimes I think there's a understanding that I'm not in the, I don't know, like I don't know what it is. And sometimes I second guess, or whatever we do it in our head, right? And then I just know, trusting that God's providing the words for me. The greater source is providing the words. I don't know what they are. but I do know that yours are as big and as important as mine. And you
Thank you.
help me. You help me when you say them.
And ditto. And you know what, Kelly? See, that's interesting because before I come into the meetings, because I've been to all of them, I just say, God, put in the room, the breakout room, who you want me to speak with. And I ask the Holy Spirit just to guide and just share what I feel is coming to me. And I don't know, Kelly, like it's making me think, sorry, Barbara, for taking up all of the time we're, of talking, but it just makes me think even with Resilient Women in Prayer, my thing that was given to me was to have the room no more than 6. So that means I just do another group kind of thing. And it's always about small and intimate with me. And so when I get into, but I've done large crowds too, as far as sharing, but I like the closeness. That's when I'm in, a room of 200, then you're connecting with maybe 10 people because they come up and talk to you afterwards. And sure, you're dropping seeds, but and helping other, because there's takeaways always. And I don't know, I just really feel that relationship is where it's at, and you have to take the time to cultivate those and get real with people. And that's where it resonates for me. Like I said, I can do both, but I love, like, Kelly, like our garden party, the garden of wisdom is what I call it. Like, I miss that so much. And there'd just be a few of us, but it would be deep. It would be meat.
It's interesting. I'm hearing my ears go right to that place where, okay, so the first thing is, do you feel safe because it's small? Because I'll tell you something for me, that nobody in the room, I mean, I've had up to 71 and as small as 20. And no, I was not prepared for 71. I wasn't prepared for that at all. And I know that God had my back in every moment. And what I know is that I know that I've intimately connected. And what I don't know and will never know, never, is how I insightfully plant my seeds, like you said, in connection to everyone that keeps coming back. Because I didn't connect intimately with anyone, but I connected deeply with everyone. Because they just keep coming back. And more people keep sharing, like Hannah not Hannah Trimmer, but the other Hannah, Natalie. She shared in tears, full tears the other week. Never had she ever shared before. And now she's back, and she's back. And Felicity never shared before in a group. Now she's sharing. And so the thing is that when I think that, like, I'm doing God's work, thinking that that I need to keep it one way or another, then I'm taking my will rather than His. Because I tell you, I have this right in front of me right now. I have it right in front of me with the Clarity Group. So Clarity Group right now is beginning tonight. And there was some questions around how big it was going to be, how many people I could let in, what numbers should I, and I was like, no, I've always done 12. Well, guess what? It's not 12. And then more people were talking about coming. And then it was like, and all of a sudden, who am I? Like I said to Meg the other day, I said, who am I to say who can come and can't come? That would be me doing God's will. And so it's very safe for me to keep it at 12. It's safe. It's absolutely safe. I get to have intimate connection. The groups are 4 people, 3 groups of 4. It works out very perfectly, all this bullshit. Because it is. It's Kelly being safe.
Well, you know what? Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's as far as the Resilient Women in Prayer goes, it's not a safety issue. That issue is definitely one, I know that it needs to be 1 hour. I know who the avatar is. It's women on the go. They're not going to sit for 2 hours. They don't have the time to take out that time. And when I present with a 10-minute devotional, it's doable.
Yeah.
And then depending on where people are in their spiritual walk, they're not beating themselves up saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to bed, didn't even take 2 minutes to talk to God. Because it's important to them, but life happens. Mm-hmm. So for resilient women in prayer, I am so clear. It's like,
there's no question that your wisdom's guiding you. Moreover, it's about how you show up when there's an opportunity to show up.
You know what? I'm open to, like, for example, with Resilient Women in Business, where I've got my own group, I didn't want it to stay at 12. That's Cheryl's thing. So for me, I envisioned the bigger, the better. So in talking with Cheryl, that's okay. I can just, once we're at 12, I'll start up another group if time permits. And that's how my life is going at that time. God will know, you know? So I just have to show up. That's all I have to do.
Yeah. So does that mean, like, in this...
Somebody's leaving a package. Oh. Is he leaving? Yeah, he's leaving. I don't know. He banged on my window too. Anyway, he saw me. Anyway,
love what you have to offer. I love when you really come to yourself, you share, and you share it like just between Barbara and I and stuff. I'm just saying that share could impact many others in the same way without disclosing privacy and I can only imagine the impact, the ripple.
Well, I can't say that the workshop idea isn't sort of forefront. You and I had talked a little bit about workshops and that kind of thing. And this month I actually had pretty clear topics. It's a matter of working it all in the time that
Is it a matter of when?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet.
You, Barbara, I'm curious. Are you on a when situation or are you on a how? How or when, Barbara? Where are you?
On what?
How are you going to do what you want to do, or when you're going to do what you want to do?
I'm still figuring out what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I keep waffling. I say, yes, I want to build Isogenics. I believe in it. I think it's a really good product. I think it's a really good way for people to get into a healthy mode. I'm not there yet. I don't know what it is. There's resistance and I don't know why. And that's what I want to figure out. But right now I'm just really happy with doing the courses and getting rid of that clutter that's in my head and getting stronger in who I am and in my beliefs. And I think once I get that all together and I'm feeling stronger and more secure in me and trust me, I will move forward, and I will probably move forward quickly.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
So it's just getting stronger and trusting, and it's that trust that is my biggest issue right now. So I've had so many people tell me that I'm not allowed to start dating a man until he has been scrutinized by this group and by this group, and because I have a very bad choice in men, and that is very forefront in my head. And it's like, okay, with clarity, I'm going to know when my next relationship is right for me, and I'm not going to trust anybody else to pick that person out for me. Mm-hmm. You know, and that, okay, I think you should pay $100,000 a year to belong to this group so that you can get a man that you deserve. And I'm thinking, $100,000 a year? I don't need that. And I'm starting to believe I don't need that because it's within me to find it. And I'm learning more and more. It's within me. And talking with Susan.
You just froze, girlfriend.
You're still frozen.
That's what happens to Barbara at times. Froze.
I don't know if she